All right, y'all, today we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. Going to check it out its local search, check out its city search, see if it's got BSS. So we're back here in the GBC universe, where we're taking declining boudoir photographers, turn them into the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pin post, home post on the video, whatever. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if a boudoir photography business is rising, they're probably most likely bringing in piece from the entire intent spectrum, way over on the left, highest intent, way over on the right, lowest intent. But if a boudoir photography business is falling, they're missing at least one cohort, or at least probably two cohorts as well from this intent spectrum. Now, way over on the left, we got BSS boudoir search sameness, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. But way on the left, that's what we're talking about here. These videos, talking about the highest intent people searching for boudoir photo shoots right now in our, right in our city, searching on social media, searching on Google, and wherever on the left, the lowest intent people. That's our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We're talking about BLCS, kind of a unique niched problem. And we actually, with that brand, we currently only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So now onward. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1 of Google, that means we're on page 2 or deeper. That's gonna be a fast death for our business, because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even make it to page 2. They're page 1 only searches. And so if we're stuck on page 0, that's a fast track to death. And if we got 1 slot on page 1, that's not good enough either, because then we're looking the same as all the other boudoir photographers. Probably going to be none other boudoir photographers. So buyers are just going to click and open up everybody's link, get a quote from everyone, price shop everyone. Whereas 80% of those buyers, the bulk that we care about, would never even go to page 2. So even on page 1, we're still getting super, super, super price shopped. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 in Google is not normal. It's an extremely small number. It's normal is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So 0 or 1 slot on page 1 of Google, extremely, extremely, extremely common though. People are accepting of it being common because people do not know about the false belief of page 1 equality. Now, the market saturation, basically everyone knows about that. Someone's getting a new iPhone, they're throwing up on Google My Business profile on Google Maps. They got their website up, trying to rank page 1 for boudoir photographer. And so more supply. Same with someone's getting a new camera, and then they're talking, they're posting in the mom Facebook groups saying that, saying they offer boudoir shoots now as well. Again, another increase in supply. And COVID was a big, massive supply shock of boudoir photographers, because a lot of people lost their jobs. People still need to earn money though. Everyone's got a phone with basically everyone's got a phone with a superpowered camera. So offering boudoir photo shoots, even for new peeps, was, kind of an easy in. And as a result, super increased the supply of boudoir photographers. And if there's the same number of buyers remained, then then it's going to be harder and harder for sellers to make the same amount of money. Now, false belief of page 1 equality, this, from what I've seen, is the #1 killer boudoir photography businesses. What this is boudoir photographers saying, all right, I got 1 slot on page 1 here on my website, and some other boudoir photographers came in, entered the marketplace, got their website ranked higher than mine. So, pushing me down to page 2, but that's simply how it is. Hopefully one of them deletes their websites, and maybe Google will put me back on page 1. Because right now I'm invisible on page 2. Approximately 80% of searchers never even get to me. And, just kind of letting those things happen. That's a false belief. Google actually will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want, as we put in the effort to acquire. And Google wants to give us those slots. I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in only 10 days with this new methodology I developed. Now, final piece here on the left side, a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, DBP. So left side of our universe, disappearing boudoir photographer. Well, that's because, if we got BSS, we're either 0 or 1 slot on page 1. So basically, we're either on page 2 of Google, which means we're definitely disappearing. Approximately 80% of searches never even get to page 2. And if we're on page 1, then and we only got one slot, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're being price shopped to death, and we're actually, disappearing as well. And so, disappearing Boudoir photographer, dude, having BSS, this is the canary in the coal mine, kind of the warning flag, the warning light, check engine light going on, saying, hey, we are on a path now to actually lose for the boudoir photography business itself to disappear. But luckily, we now have a solution. So that solution, we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And when we treat, so we invented this, so that's how I know it works. It's exactly what the name is, social search saturation. We're saturating social search. And for the highest intent keywords. And basically, it's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains. When we saturate social search, where there's like the small streams, the small rivers on the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America, they actually flow into the Amazon River. And with the Amazon River, what actually happens is they all converge to the Amazon River. That's like conversion on page 1 of Google. Now, this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that actually allows them to overcome market saturation extremely quickly. The only one other option would be, actually having a well-known brand. That takes, 5 to 10 years. We ain't got 5 to 10 years. AI is here, coming to take people's jobs, and we got to max rank as fast as possible, as there's a whole bunch of boudoir photographers going to be entering the market. So, S-cube methodology, yeah, it is the only thing I've seen for boudoir photographers that successfully enables them to fight back and overcome market saturation. I mean, imagine if there's a million boudoir photographers in San Francisco, and we're one of them. Everyone's got a website competing to be page 1 on Google. And what actually happens is we max out our S-cube methodology, literally basically do it as max as possible. And as a result, we're getting like the first 300 slots on social search, first 300 slots on Google search. And when we do that, whenever any buyer searches for Google or, on Google or social search, high intent keywords for boudoir photo shoot in their city, we're basically the only one they find for the first 300 slots. And, we essentially pushed all the competition down to slots 301 or later. So on Google, it's 10 organic slots per page. And 10 organic slots per page is, that's 30 pages we're taking up. Buyers essentially got to go to page 31 to even find out that we are, to find out our competitors. So obviously, whose business is growing in this scenario? Ours, because we saturated basically kind of everywhere they can look. So again, this S-cube methodology is the only solution I've seen that allows boudoir photographers to successfully escape markets or successfully grow in spite of market saturation, kind of no matter how many boudoir photographers are out there. That happens relatively quickly. Brand, dude, takes like 5 to 10 years. So we ain't got no time to build brand right now. Now, one tree with S-cube methodology, we have page 1 visibility. And kind of an initial bonus benefit we get from this is every new slot we take on page 1 of Google, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So when we do that, when we make them invisible, we know that literally 80% of boudoir photographers or searchers do literally never go to page 2. So if we kick them onto page 2, off page 1, on page 2, deeper, they're effectively invisible to approximately 80% of the market. So that's an extra immediate benefit. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So when we get that, we have the GBC recommended minimum of getting 3 out of 10 slots on Google search page 1. Because at 3 out of 10 slots, a lot of boudoir photographers, most of them will be at 1 out of 10. So when the buyer's scrolling down Google and they're seeing us with a massive number of boudoir photo shoots, or basically kind of with our option, then what actually happens is we're going to be seen as like super awesome solution. People are going to be wondering, why Google is recommending us 3 different times and everyone else only once. So that's why we want to hit the GBC recommended minimum is 3. And as we actually increase, as we some boudoir photographers rarely will actually have two slots on page 1. So we actually want to hit those. And when we hit those, we want to, or when they hit those, our 3 out of 10 slots will actually still overpower them. So it's essentially taking care of all scenarios. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, VBP. So it's our micro universe here. Got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. We finally have a solution, thankfully. S-cubed methodology. We achieve page 1 visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. So it's our micro universe here. Now here are my results from using S-cubed methodology when I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So basically I wanted to rank for this keyword. So I already know, use S-cubed methodology. So we got me, organic slot Instagram here, organic slot page 1, organic slot page 2, organic slot page 3, slot 4. I mean, not page 1, page 2. Slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4. Then we got slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. So we literally got slot 10, or we got 9 out of 10 slots, and we achieved this with only 10 days utilizing our S-cubed methodology. So these are my results I've gotten for it. Now, main event here, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business, see if they got BSS right at either their local search or their city search, and see what's going on. So we're going to Carefree, Arizona, if you're in Phoenix, Arizona. Carefree, Arizona. All right. Boom, we got 1. And let's see. Boom, we got 2. Boom, we got 3. And boom, we got 4. All right, so we got 4 out of 10 for local. Awesome. Let's go to city, Phoenix. Way harder to rank here in Phoenix. Let's see, we got, because it's a much larger area, way more competitors. Let's see. All right, we're at 0 out of 10. All right, so for city, or for local, we're at 4 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. And so we do not have BSS. We've hit the GBC recommended minimum, 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. That's good. So dominating local here. City, we got 0 out of 10. So we do have BSS. So we're at 0 or 1 slots, page 1 Google search. And basically, we're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've gone and done your local search and you've done your city search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, and you see, you had BSS for 1 or both of them, or you're not reaching the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search for 1 or both of them, and you've accepted that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. You understand Google actually give us as many page 1 slots on Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. Your CNS key methodology is the only path to achieve that, and you've actually been waiting for something like this. You're like, oh my God, finally, yes. And you're liking the initial benefits, more search page 1 on Google, nice. You're liking the second initial benefit, kicking other boudoir photographers off page 1 on Google, yes, awesome as well. All these obviously increasing probability you get clients. You understand the market saturation, yeah, peeps get more gear, more boudoir photographers enter the market over time, naturally. And you're also thinking ahead, like, man, AI is taking a lot of peeps jobs right now already, and it's going to be taking more and more peeps jobs. And you understand, last time that happened, COVID, people lost their jobs, had to earn money. Everyone's got a super-powered smartphone with an awesome camera, so boudoir photography is like the easiest thing for people to enter. So massive wave of new boudoir photographers coming in as a result of AI, and because of that, you're looking ahead, being like, all right, you're realizing you actually have to not only get all these positions on page 1, you got to fortify these positions on page 1. I have so many links on page 1 that Google wants to rank on page 1 for you, but there's literally not enough slots. You got like backup links, page 2, 3, 4, 5. that you need that basically fortify your position, kind of like fortifying the levee down in Nolens, Louisiana, because the city is actually below sea level, fortifying it against the ocean. You realize you got to fortify your positions on Google search with so many backup links that no current boudoir photographer competitor would ever hope to rank on page one, nor any future boudoir photographer competitor coming from AI taking their job could ever rank on page one. And you're saying again, oh, okay, SQ methodology is the only solution that can provide that benefit as well. And you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you know you need these things on your journey to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you're also thinking ahead. Do you understand how SQ methodology is working? We're basically building up these invisible thematic keyword columns on the back end in cyberspace, basically attached to your brand name, your business's name across all your social handles, kind of intertwined and kind of sticking out, poking out from your business. And you're understanding that every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're actually increasing the probability up here for us to be recommended in AI overview in search. The most premium placement, we cannot pay to get this placement with ads. This is the #1 most premium placement we want to achieve. And similarly, the other future benefit is, again, related to AI. Every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're increasing the probability that AI search apps start recommending us as well. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Every day we're kind of building up this back end keyword momentum, AI mindshare momentum for these highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city, increasing the probability we get recommended AI search. I remember the last time I did AI search for boudoir photographer in a city, it returned me 3. This is with ChatGPT. I actually went and manually searched that city. Dude, there's around 60 searched on Google and Facebook. And so it's like, we got to get this one of these 3 slots in AI search, or however many slots there are as possible, because AI search is increasing every single day, and standard Google search is decreasing every single day. So you're liking those, but there's those future benefits. You're also liking that, kind of estimated increase probability of building a brand. A well-known brand is estimated to be approximately 8x faster, which the brand helps insulate against market saturation. And also, I mentioned you got a brand and you're continuing to use SQ methodology because you understand that my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you understand you can actually kick out all your competitors from utilizing this technology, and you can get all these benefits, initial and future benefits, build a brand faster, prevent your competitors from using it, build a massive gap in like AI mindshare, backend AI keyword mindshare, to be recommended for AI search and AI overviews, and build a massive gap that basically your competitors will never be able to touch or intrude upon. And that's why I've decided to be a first mover, because you know that conversely, if one of your boudoir photographer competitors would just be this in your city would sign on with me first, then what would actually happen is they would get all those benefits. You'd be kicked off page 1, maybe even kicked off page 2 as well, relegated to page 3 or deeper. You would be losing, basically building up no AI mindshare, while me and your competitor are building up massive momentum, massive AI mindshare in the back end, invisible thematic keyword columns over and over and over again, reinforcing that repetition, relevance, authority, age, increase the probability they build that up on us. And as a result, we actually, me and your competitor building up this massive gap, and you would not have access to our technology. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to recreate SQ method, rederive it for yourself, and you would never actually be 100% confident you've derived it correctly. You would then have to execute it equally to us every single day, put in the time and effort to do that. And if you were to do that, you're simply maintaining the gap, meaning your competitor already have, way ahead of you. So you'd have to actually double or triple our output every single day to be able to start pulling back the AI keyword mindshare back towards you, away from me and your competitor. And again, you would never be 100% confident you've actually derived the methodology correctly. So probably wouldn't feel confident putting that much time into it. And then even if you did, who's got 80 hours per day to be doing all this effort. So you decide, screw that, you're gonna be the first mover. Get all these benefits, initial benefits, future benefits, prevent your competitors from using this technology. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. Our DMs are currently closed. The hospital is not currently accepting new patients. So when the hospital does come to open back up to accept a new patient, shoot us a DM. We will see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.